And welcome to another edition of The Brash, Sean's View Entertainment, here on YouTube. Share, subscribe, and smash that bell. But I come to you in a very different tone, maybe even a different attitude after what Jim Cornette has said. Now, we know he used to be a manager. We know he used to be on the creative team, booker, writer, whatever, receiver. Bottom line is he went over the edge. He crossed a line. And when you talk about Kurt Cobain and you talk about a band like Nirvana, here is what Jim Cornette said on Twitter. And this rocked a lot of people. And, you know, everyone will say, oh, well, why respect Jim Cornette? Because he says whatever he says with you know, whatever ramifications, whether it's justified or not. You know, he just puts it out there and he doesn't care what anybody else thinks. Well, there comes a time where you have to think before you do. And Jim Cornette said that a millionaire rock star with a wife and baby to think about, and a lot of people who would have loved to have his problems, F Kurt Cobain, said Jim Cornette. That's the F word, Kurt Cobain. Well, let me tell you something, Mr. Jim Cornette. As a person who suffers through anxiety and depression and panic and all these different things, especially more so this year than ever before, okay, money isn't everything. And you know what? Kurt Cobain had a variety of issues and problems, okay? So to pretty much say that he took the easy way out, in my estimation, and look at, like you said, a lot of people can come on here and they can say, oh, Jim Cornette says what he feels and he feels what he says, and without, you know, this, in my opinion, is disgusting. It is outlandish. It is controversial. Jim Cornette, no matter what he's done, no matter what he set out to do in the wrestling business, will never be as prominent and as relevant as Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain is always going to be realized and recognized by a new generation of fans. And we can run down all Kurt Cobain's music and history, and we can run down his accolades and accomplishments. We can run down all those things. But at the end of the day, when you're talking, you know, and Kurt Cobain also dealt with a stomach issue. You know, Kurt Cobain, you know, he had his demons. Nobody is perfect. I understand he had a wife. I understand he had a baby to think about. And I love how Cornette says a lot of people would have loved to have his problems. It's not all about the money. It's not all about the green. It's not all about the cash. Cash can't make everybody happy, obviously. That's the obvious thing here. So for Jim Cornette to go on there without no repercussions, without no apprehension, without none of that, come on here and say something like that about Kurt Cobain is downright disgusting, and it's just wrong. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I think it's downright wrong and ugly. Nothing like talking about somebody that is dead that can't respond to you. Isn't that really worthy? And isn't that really cool? Isn't that like in to talk about Kurt Cobain like that? While Jim Cornette is no stranger to controversy, goes on to say, the report on NoDQ.com, Cornette's recent comments about Kurt Cobain on his podcast and Cobain committing suicide has struck a nerve with some of Cornette's listeners. And as we all know, Kurt Cobain, the Nirvana singer. But yeah, there's not much more I can say. But this was absolutely disgusting, and it was despicable by Jim Cornette. And I quite frankly can't believe he said something like that. Unless you've gone through depression and anxiety and panic and these disorders like I've went through and like I'm experiencing in my life right now today, you really shouldn't have a say in something as serious and as prominent as that. Unbelievable. Subscribe.